Hello everyone, myself Khushi Agrawal, and today I am here with a video to discuss about an important part of operating system, an important type of operating system, that is the real-time operating system. So let's begin with the topic. So first of all, I'll let you know about the basic outline of my video. So first we'll be discussing about the operating system. So for moving to real-time operating system, we must know what is an operating system. Next up, we'll be knowing about RTOS, the real-time operating system, the structure of RTOS, the characteristics of RTOS, the classification, that is the types of RTOS, the features of it, kernel services, the factors for selecting them, and at last the disadvantages of RTOS. So let's see what is an operating system. So an operating system is an interface between a computer user and a computer hardware. The operating system executes all kind of programs and it performs many basic tasks like file management, memory management, and many more things. So what operating system does, it generates the friendly environment for all applications and software. So all the computers, all the types of computers must have at least one operating system installed. So as we see in the diagram, what operating system does is it connects the user and the hardware. So real-time operating system is one among the popular types of operating system. So real-time systems are those systems that do not only depend on the result but also depends on the time at which the result was given. So let's see what is the definition of a real-time operating system. So real-time operating system is a system that supports real-time applications by providing result within the deadline. They are really similar to the operating system, but it also provides a mechanism to allow real-time scheduling of the tasks. Though we can see that RTOS may or may not increase the speed of execution, but they are more precise than the general purpose operating system. So this is an example of real-time operating system, the anti-missile system. So what it does, it first detects all the incoming missiles, then positions the anti-missile gun, and then fires to destroy the incoming missile before the incoming missile can do any damage. So the anti-missile system would be considered to have failed if any of its tasks fail before the corresponding deadline. So next up, we'll move to RTOS versus GPOS. So real-time operating system has some advantages over the general purpose operating system. So the first is determinism. So prediction should be done very accurately and clearly. So RTOS predicts the output of the system for a given input. Hardware architecture is RTOS are very lightweight. Kernel is the preemptive kernel in the RTOS. So what happens is when a kernel serves the high priority process, if the driver calls the system, it's a kernel call and it needs to be served overriding all other processes, and that's why we require a preemptive kernel and we prefer real-time operating systems for that. Next is the scheduling. So RTOS scheduling is based on priority. So I'll give you an example. What is scheduling? So let's suppose we have 4 tasks, P1, P2, P3 and P4, and I have given the priority as P2, P3, P1 and P4. So the tasks will be executed in such a way, that is P2, P3, P1 and P4. This will be the order of the execution of the task based on priority. Next is response time. So RTOS has predictable response time. The usage of RTOS is basically in embedded applications, while GPOs are used in the general purpose personal computers. So we have discussed the usage of RTOS. So we came to know that it provides real-time response, highly deterministic, runs in systems with limited memory, performs tasks quickly and can perform multiple tasks. So this is the structure of RTOS. So at the base we can see the hardware, at the top is the user applications, and in between we can see two parts, the kernel and the BSP. So BSP is board support package, which I'll be discussing in the further part of my video. So RTOS architecture. So obviously the architecture of RTOS will depend how we want to use the system. So the more the complex the system is, the more good or the more high applicable RTOS should be used. So next is good RTOS is scalable. Scalable means that it can meet many requirements. So for different applications we have different requirements. So RTOS should be made in such a way that it can meet many requirements at the same time. So for simple applications we prefer RTOS with a kernel, but for complex embedded systems we prefer RTOS with kernel, networking protocol and other components. So we have already seen the structure, the application, kernel, BSP and the hardware. Next, so the kernel is the smallest and the central component of the operating system. It manages the memory and the devices. It also manages protection of programs and multitasking. So the main concentration of the kernel is on the scheduler part of the RTOS. It supports all kinds of application systems and follows thread priority, that is preemption. So let's see the three categories of kernel models available. We have monolithic kernel, microkernel and hybrid kernel. So first is the monolithic kernel. So monolithic kernels are part of Unix-like operating systems like Linux. They perform system services like process management, interrupt handling, and also provide powerful abstraction of the underlying hardware. So what happened was monolithic kernel were avoided because it targets the primitive part and it leads into many handling issues. So that's why these problems caused to the invention of the microkernels. So microkernels runs only the basic process communication and the input-output control, and they are more stable than the monolithic kernels. So they are used in the operating systems like Mac, Match, VEOS and QNX, etc. Next is the hybrid kernels. They are extended version of microkernels with some properties of the monolithic kernels. So these are the part of operating system like Microsoft Windows NT 2000 and the XP. So next is the board support package. So what is the board support package? The board support package is the layer of software containing hardware specific drivers and other routines. So it is a connection between the software and the hardware. Board support package is just a kernel interference to device drivers. So the third-party hardware developers who wish to support a particular real-time operating system must create a BSP, that is the board support package. So what third-party means here is that their clients work on the given system. So for example, we can see Qualcomm. Qualcomm is a third-party hardware developer for the Intel company. And board support package also plays a huge role in the embedded markets. So next we have the characteristics of RTOS. As we can see, this is reliability, predictability, performance, scalability and consistency. These are the main 5 major characteristics of RTOS. So first let's see about reliability. So depending on the application, the system might need to operate for longer periods without human intervention. For example, I'll say that a digital solar powered calculator might reset itself if it does not get enough light, yet the calculator will be acceptable. But on the other hand, if a telecom switch cannot start during operation without incurring high associated costs for downtime. So the RTOS in these applications require different degrees of reliability. So in general, a reliable system is one that is available and does not fail at any time. So the RTOS must be reliable. We should also note that RTOS by itself is not what is measured to determine the reliability of the system, but it is combination of all the system elements, that is the hardware, BSP, application, that determines the reliability of the system. Next is the predictability. So meeting timing requirements is key to ensure proper operation. So the RTOS used in the cases needs to be predictable to a certain degree. The term deterministic describes RTOS with predictable behavior in which the completion of operating system calls occurs within a given time frame. Next is the performance. So this requirement dictates that an embedded system must perform fast enough so that it can fulfill all its timing requirements. So the typically we can say the more deadlines to be met and the shorter the time between them, the faster will be the CPU performance. So let's see what is throughput. So throughput also measures the overall performance of a system with hardware and software combined. So we can also say throughput is the rate at which a system can generate output based on the inputs coming in. So next we'll see the compactness. So application design constraints and cost constraints can help determine how compact an embedded system can be. So for example, a cell phone clearly must be small, portable and obviously of low cost. These design requirements limit the system memory and which in turn limits the size of the application. So next is the scalability. So RTOS can be used in a wide variety of embedded systems. They must be able to scale up or down to meet the application specific requirements. So if an RTOS does not scale up well, development teams might have to buy or build up the missing pieces. So suppose that a development team wants to use an RTOS for the design of a cell phone project and a base station project. So if the RTOS scales well, the same RTOS can be used in both projects instead of 2 different RTOS, which can save time as well as money. So some applications of RTOS. See, so the first is the car airbag system. An airbag is deployed within a particular time interval after the sensors in the car detect a collision. So the pacemaker is inserted in someone's chest to provide electrical impulses at regular intervals to help their heartbeat. If the device misses any beat, then it can be fatal. It can obviously cause to death. The next is the anti-lock braking system, and they are obviously made in the car. They control the car, and you can see the difference with ABS, that is with the anti-lock braking system, and without the anti-lock braking system. So next we have classification of RTOS. First one is the hard real-time systems, that they have 0 degree of tolerance of missing the deadlines. Second is the firm real-time systems. They can not accept the quality reduction. The third and the last is the soft real-time system. So they can accept the reduction in quality. So first let's see what is hard RTOS. So in hard RTOS, the deadline is handled very strictly. That is, the task must start executing on the given scheduled time and must complete within the assigned time duration. A missed deadline can result in catastrophic failure of the system. That is, it can be very fatal. So some examples are missile navigation system, vehicle airbags control, nuclear power plant control, and the robot. So let's see what happens in robot in an RTOS. So if a robot encounters an obstacle, the robot must detect it as soon as possible because it has to escape colliding with it. So if it fails to respond to it quickly, then it will collide with the obstacle and the robot would be considered to have failed. Therefore, detecting obstacles and reacting to it is considered hard time task. That is hard real-time RTOS system. So firm RTOS. These type of RTOS also need to follow the deadlines. However, missing a deadline may not have big impact but could cause undesired effects like reduction in quality of the product. So the examples are robot in car assembly section, food processing control system, weather monitoring system, and video conferencing. So let's see what happens in video conferencing system. In video conferencing, video frames and the accompanying audio are converted into packets and then transmitted to the receiver over a network. So after all this process is done, when a certain frame is being played, if someone preceding frame arrives at the receiver, then this frame is of no use and the frame which is not of use is discarded. So due to this reason, when a frame is delayed by more than say 1 second, it is simply discarded and it has no use. So the quality is reduced. So soft RTOS. So soft real-time RTOS accepts some delays by the operating system. In this type of RTOS, there is a deadline assigned for a specific job, but a delay in a small amount of time is acceptable. So the deadlines are handled softly. So examples are multimedia transmission, digital cameras, computer games, and web browsing. So in web browsing, what happens? Normally a URL is clicked, the corresponding web page is fetched and displayed within a couple of seconds on the average. However, when it takes several minutes to display a requested page, we still do not consider the system to be failed because it merely expresses the performance of the system. So let's discuss about the features of RTOS. So the first feature is multi-threading and preemptibility. That is multitasking and preemptible. So the scheduler should be able to preempt any task in the system and it should allocate the process or the resource to the thread. Next is thread priority, that is preemption. So all tasks in the system are assigned priority level and on the basis of the priorities they are asked to run, and the task which will be running is the highest priority task. So inter-task communication and synchronization. Multiple tasks pass information among each other and this is done in a very synchronized way. Priority inheritance. So RTOS should have large number of priority levels and it should prevent priority inversion using priority inheritance. Next is latency. So we should make sure that the latencies are short and predefined. So first is task switching latency. So the time needed to save the context of a currently executing task and switching to another task should be made as short as possible so that we can save the time or we can shorten the task switching latency. Interrupt latency is the time between the execution of last instruction of the interrupted task to the first instruction of the interrupt handler. And interrupt dispatch latency is the time from the last instruction in the interrupt handler to the next task scheduled to run. Now let's see how does an RTOS work. So real-time application requests are serviced by RTOS and it allows multiple tasks or programs based on the priority levels. So let us say a user is browsing on the internet and after a few seconds he switches to YouTube and then to listening to a podcast. So browsing on the internet is task 1, video on YouTube is task 2 and listening to podcast is task 3. So switching between these tasks is known as multitasking. When the user shifts to task 2, the task 1 is terminated and the task 2 is executed because it has higher priority. Similarly, task 3 is executed when task 2 is terminated and task 3 has higher priority there. So task scheduling unit takes care of all these functions. So now we'll see relevance of kernel in RTOS architecture, that is the kernel services. So RTOS is task oriented and microkernel architecture is implemented in RTOS with configurable functionalities. So abstraction layer is provided by the kernel and it has these main types of services for the application software. So when we do task management, the understanding is linked with the memory management. Then it connects to the device input-output management. Sometimes two tasks arise and both are important, so multitasking comes into need. And there comes synchronization. So how synchronized our task is to communicate with every module. So let's discuss about these one by one. So first is the task management. So before that, we'll see the system. We can see the abstraction layer. The abstraction layer has time management, task management, and all the applications software provides all these management systems to us. So first is task management. So the application is divided into small parts or program units that are called tasks, and this is done so that we can achieve concurrency in the real-time application. So task creation involves creating a task control box which has some things like task ID, priority, and many more things. Then the task is governed by three critical properties that are related to time, that is the release time, deadline, and execution time. So release time is the point from which the task can be executed. Deadline is the point in which the task must complete, and execution time is the time it takes to execute. So a task can exist in any of the following states. There are 5 states like this. First is dormant. So when the task does not require any computer time, it is in the dormant state. When the task is ready to go to active state, it is in the ready state. When the task is running, it is referred to as active state. When the task is put on hold temporarily, it is called suspended, and at the last, it's called pending when it is waiting for any resource to get. Next is task scheduling. So what the RTOS does, it records the state of each task and determines the task of highest priority to be executed. So this is done by two main things, scheduler and dispatcher. So scheduler keeps records of all the states of each task and selects from among them that which tasks are ready to execute and allocates the CPU to one of them. And the dispatcher gives control of the CPU to the task selected by the scheduler by performing task switching and changing the flow of execution. So context switching refers to the kernel transfer control of CPU from executing process to the other process which is ready to run. Next is task synchronization. It is necessary for the information to be transmitted safely from one task or thread to another task. Task synchronization enables the tasks to mutually share the resources like buffers, input-output devices, etc. So these can be done in two ways. First is event objects, second one is the semaphores. So event objects are used when synchronization has to be done without resource sharing, and semaphores are used when it has to be done with resource sharing. So semaphores have two things associated, that is the resource count and the wait queue. So resource count indicates that it has a resource sharing, and the wait queue indicates that the task waiting for resources are from the semaphore. Memory management. So it allocates the memory for each program, and there are two types of memory management, stack management and heap management. Stack management is used when context switching is done for the thread control blocks, and the memory other than memory used for program code, program data or system stack is called the heap memory, and the allocation of these data spaces is called the heap management. So time management. To schedule the task that needs to be executed during a specified duration, there is a need for periodical interrupt. So hence the hardware timer is programmed to interrupt the processor, and this time interrupt is called as the system tech. Interrupt handling. So CPU is informed about any asynchronous event that was not scheduled or that was not thought that it will occur is known as an interrupt, and this interrupt handling and all is also done by the kernel services. Device input-output management. Device input-output management helps in providing uniform framework. It also helps in accessing specific hardware device drivers, that is, it locates the right device for input-output request. So next we will see the factors for selecting an RTOS. So first is performance. Obviously performance is the most important factor which we need to consider while selecting our RTOS. Next is middleware. If there is no middleware support, then the issue of time taken will surely occur. So we should make sure that middleware is necessary while selecting RTOS. RTOS should obviously be error free. There is no chance of getting an error while performing the task, or else the system might fail at any time. Embedded system usage, the programs of RTOS are of small size, so we prefer using RTOS for embedded systems. So maximum consumption, we can achieve maximum consumption with the help of RTOS. Yes, so with RTOS we can see that we can use the system to the maximum levels, and that's why we prefer RTOS. Task shifting time of the task is very less for RTOS. Unique features, yeah, RTOS has unique features, extra features, like it can operate a command, efficient protection, etc. And obviously RTOS is ideal for all those applications who require 24/7 time management or performance. And at last we will see the disadvantages of RTOS. So RTOS requires specific drivers for faster response time. It requires plenty of resources. It is very expensive. It uses complex algorithm, and it is very difficult to interpret. It carries only minimal switching of tasks. It can only run minimal tasks together, and many more such things. So with this, we have come to the end of the video. So I hope you all got a clear idea about the important topics related to RTOS, that is the features of RTOS, selecting RTOS, advantages, disadvantages, and everything. So thank you everyone.